For those who aren't aware, ViacomCBS is an American media corporation based in the United States, which claims ownership of a whole array of companies, including Paramount Pictures, MTV, and DreamWorks. In other words, a lot of the movies, films, and TV programs you've watched will claim their inception to ViacomCBS. Undoubtedly, this makes ViacomCBS amongst the most powerful media empires in the US, if not the world. But you see, the story behind this legendary empire cannot wholly be understood without understanding the man behind its rise. So, without further ado, let's introduce you to the passionate-to-win businessman Sumner Redstone. The story of Sumner Redstone is momentous, eventful, and above all, game-changing in the world of Western media. Born in 1923, Sumner was the son of Michael Rothstein, an American businessman from the Jewish community. In 1940, however, Michael changed his family's surname from Rothstein to Redstone. This shift was undertaken to erase any cues of Jewishness in their names, owing to the pernicious anti-Semitism that had swept the globe at the time. Nevertheless, the newly named Redstone family business, which chiefly comprised of outdoor cinema chain National Amusements, continued to thrive and grow in the decades that followed. So, in a nutshell, Sumner enjoyed an affluent upbringing deeply embedded in the theater scene of the United States. As he grew older, however, he branched out and did his own things for a while, given that he was a trailblazing student at school. He was admitted to Harvard College to obtain his baccalaureate and graduated in 1944, faster than any of his peers in his class. As World War II was raging in Europe and the Pacific, Redstone promptly joined the army upon graduating. There he served as a first lieutenant and harnessed his fluency in Japanese to decipher and decode Japan's secret communications. Once victory was in America's hands, Redstone left the army and returned to Harvard to obtain his law degree. In 1947, he graduated from law school and began a career in public service, serving as the special assistant to the U.S. Attorney General, Tom Clark. For the next 7 years, Sumner was occupied with various U.S. government positions, until he decided to jump ship and join his father's theater business in 1954. This spelt the dawn of his business career, where he discovered a potent entrepreneurial twist to his identity. For the following decade, Sumner Redstone carved his place within National Amusements, and by 1967 was crowned its CEO. As the leader of the company, Redstone began to appreciate the importance of content creation, as opposed to mere content distribution. There, he coined his famous phrase, "Content is king," which has stuck a chord with his fans ever since. Based on this conviction, Sumner began investing his cash in content creation companies like 20th Century Fox, Columbia Pictures, and Paramount Pictures. Sumner was adroit enough to know that the truly desired end product of a customer isn't so much the method of distribution as much as it's the content itself. And the stock market appeared to agree, as the stocks of those content creation companies carried on growing and yielding profits for its shareholders, including Sumner. In 1979, however, Sumner Redstone found himself in a fire as he was spending the night in a hotel in Boston. Testament to his courage, however, he ran around the building looking for a window to jump out of. Eventually, he found one and made an attempt to escape. However, the drop to the ground below was a little too long and dangerous, so he remained hanging from the windowsill upon one arm. Painful, I know. As a result, he unfortunately sustained noticeable burns, with 45% of his body undergoing severe burns. He spent the next few months in Massachusetts General Hospital, undergoing operation after operation, spending up to 30 hours in the operation theater. He was once told he may never live life normally again, but the next episodes of his life were to prove that assertion wrong. In fact, he often used this as an example to discuss his endless will to live, claiming that he liked it here, and that he'll try fighting death for as long as he can. Anyway, he was out of the hospital and returned to the business world with a new dose of energy. On the hunt for a new business venture, Sumner began eyeing a takeover of Viacom International, and after 4 months of bidding, wrangling, and jockeying, he finally acquired Viacom, alongside all of its underling businesses, including Nickelodeon and MTV. His dream of owning the content producers had just hit a major milestone. Clearly, even at the age of 65, the fire survivor Sumner was going strong. What followed the Viacom victory was the takeover of Paramount Pictures in 1994, after yet another fierce bidding war with his rival, Barry Diller. Now that Paramount was under the Viacom empire, Sumner was able to take the lead in its future direction, and under his leadership, Paramount gave birth to much celebrated films like Saving Private Ryan, Braveheart, and the world-renowned Titanic. Popular TV series like Star Trek and Transformers took on a new shape under his leadership, further adding to his growing list of successes in the media world. Later, Sumner added DreamWorks SKG to his collection for a staggering cost of $1.6 billion. But content is king, as he said, so he felt it was worth the price. But it's not until Viacom acquired its old parent company CBS in 2000, the popular news and entertainment channel. This was the largest merger in the media industry on record, amounting to about $36 billion in value. With that, the newly anointed ViacomCBS became a preeminent player in the American media landscape, owning everything from movie production companies, cartoon production companies, motion pictures, a publishing company, as well as TV networks like CBS. Even the production company of The Oprah Winfrey Show traced its ownership to ViacomCBS. And, at about the same time, Sumner released his first book, aptly titled A Passion to Win. In it, he uncovers his journey from his formative years as a child to his swashbuckling adventures in the military upon leaving university. On a similar note, he records his audacious battles as he sought to acquire Viacom and Paramount Pictures, and how he pressed on despite merciless competition from his rivals. The road ahead, as he reveals, was not without its bumps either. Having acquired a behemoth of a company, Sumner noticed that ViacomCBS was facing growth pains. So in 2005 he decided to split the two wings of his company into two separate entities, Viacom and CBS, as standalone companies. This move in his mind was a strategic move that would prevent Viacom from getting entangled in CBS's issues and vice versa. However, he remained chairman of both and only changed the CEOs of each. But that wasn't the end of his challenges. Later, he found himself in battle with his very own children. To begin with, his son Brent Redstone wasn't too pleased that his sister Shari Redstone held a more advantageous position in the business. He blamed that on his father's favoritism, so he decided to sue him and settle it in court. That he did, when his father agreed to buy out his stake in National Amusements for a mutually agreed sum. But then, Sumner fell out with his daughter too, over a set of strategic disagreements that concerned the future of the business. As Sumner moved to sideline his daughter, another lawsuit erupted over the succession of the company. After much in terms of public feuds and court battles, it was decided that Sumner's grandchildren would inherit the company, skipping his own children. As expected, Shari Redstone stormed off and remained estranged from her father for almost a decade. By then, Sumner Redstone had reached his mid-70s and began stepping back from his frontline role as chairman. In 2006, he anointed two new heirs to take on the roles of chairman, one for Viacom and the other for CBS. Co-president for Viacom, Les Moonves, was crowned as heir to Viacom's chairmanship, and co-president of CBS, Robert Freston, was crowned the heir of CBS. A year later, however, Sumner removed Freston and replaced him with Philip Dowman from Viacom, as he lost faith in Freston's ability to lead. Driven by his passion to win, however, Sumner held on to the chairmanship for as long as possible, despite claims of his declining mental health. As a person, he was known for not only possessing a strong will, but also a rather brash and ruthless attitude. In 2016, however, he reached the end of his line as chairman and decided to step down from the top position of CBS. Later, the business slowly began to fall back in the hands of his once estranged daughter. In a reversal of her father's decision, Shari remarried Viacom and CBS as a single entity once again. But although his long and flourishing business career had reached its sunset moment, Sumner maintained the wise grandpa position of his two companies. Multiple TV channels vied to interview him and absorb a trickle of his precious insights in business. In fact, it's easy to overlook his non-business life under the shadow of his lofty corporate achievements. The truth is that Sumner boasts a long list of charitable ventures in areas ranging from global poverty, disease control, and education. Among his most generous donations was given to research treatments in cancer and burns, amounting to over $100 million. Across the other side of the globe, he funded the development of a child rescue center in Cambodia. Being an impassioned promoter of education, Sumner gave $18 million to Boston Law School to fund a platoon of legal scholars and gave another $10 million to Harvard Law School for a similar purpose. What's more, Sumner's impact was equally notable in the world of politics. Known for being a Democrat supporter, he funded the presidential campaigns of John Kerry and Teddy Kennedy. The final years of his life featured several legal battles with his girlfriends, involving either money or Sumner's mental state. In 2016, he accused 2 of his ex-girlfriends of fraud, distress, and abuse. 2 years later, a judge from Los Angeles Superior Court ruled him incapacitated due to his worsening speech impairment. A guardian was then appointed to represent him, safeguard his legal interests, and protect his $4.6 billion strong fortune. In addition, his comeback daughter Cherie was given responsibility over his health needs. Interestingly, what this reveals above anything else isn't the difficulty of making money per se, but the sheer difficulty in preserving one's money from falling into the wrong hands. Old age isn't particularly helpful on that front either. As the years passed, it was becoming undeniable that Sumner was succumbing to his old age. In August of 2020, saying farewell to a long and rewarding life, Sumner Redstone breathed his last breath, having fought courageously until the age of 97. If we measure his life based on his insatiable passion to win, you can only consider Sumner Redstone a resounding success. Sumner shone in his strong-willed nature, a quality that even his former rival Barry Diller, remember that guy we spoke of above, testified to his uncommonly strong force of will. Resultantly, his name remains gloriously etched on the star-struck Wall of Fame in Los Angeles, and rightly so. To this day, his glowing legacy continues to inspire many, championing the unshakable virtues of persistence, courage, and simply put, loving one's life till the end. So, what did you think of Sumner Redstone's long life? And how many TV shows and movies can you name that were made under the ViacomCBS banner? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.